told you that mastering a new skill, whether it is coding, public speaking, cooking, learning a new instrument, or even a sport, it could be way faster than you think. It's about using the right strategies to learn smarter, not harder. Most people waste their time learning the wrong way. But today, I'm going to share 6 powerful techniques used by world-class experts to master anything fast. The fourth one is the real game changer, so make sure you don't miss it out. The first technique is to use the laser focus method, which is also known as cut distractions and go deep. Think about the last time when you tried to learn something new. Were you truly focused, or were you scrolling through your phone every few minutes while you were learning? Neuroscience proves that deep, undistracted learnings speeds up the process. The best learners, they don't just practice, they practice with full focus. Now, the question that would come to you is, how do I apply this in my learnings? There are multiple ways out there, but the 5 most common ones are using the Pomodoro technique. It's one of the most common techniques out there in the world, not only for students, but also for our corporate culture as well. Every field has its variation for the Pomodoro techniques. Some use it 50 minutes of the focused work and then 10 minutes of break, followed by another 50 minutes of focused work and then 10 minutes of break, followed by a long break. The way I use it is 25 minutes of focused work with 5 minutes of break in my corporate life. But when I'm doing the content creation, it's more around give myself 50 minutes and then take a 10 minutes break, obviously if my kid is asleep. The second but logical thing is to eliminate the distractions. The phone that has been distracting you, just put it out in some other room. And it's not only the physical distraction, it also means digital distraction, like having multiple tabs open. Just focus on the work that you planned already. Third way is to set a specific goal, or instead of saying I'll practice coding, you might want to reconsider your goal and then have it very specific. You might want to say I'll write an automation for scripting in 1 hour. Next is optimize your environment. Noise cancelling headphones, clutter-free desk, and a dedicated study space. It can significantly boost concentration levels. Fifth is to use the mental triggers, as it is also described in Atomic Habits by James Clear. You have cues in front of you so that your mind knows that now this is the time to focus. So it might, for every individual it is different. For you it might be playing the same background music, having the light bright sound when you are studying. That's just an indicator. All of those signals are working as an indication for your brain that it is time to focus or it is time to do something productive. Second technique is to learn only what matters the most, which is most famously known as 80-20 rule. The Pareto principle states that 20% of what you do leads to 80% of the results. Well, let's apply this to learning as well. For instance, in language learning, 80% of the conversations use 20% of the words. In fitness, few compound exercises like squats, deadlifts, they deliver the most results. So essentially the point here is there might be 50 chapters for you to study, but your focus should be on the main chapters, which would deliver you 80% of the result. And it doesn't always have to be 80-20 rule, but the idea is it could be 70 and 30, like 30% of your effort would lead to 70% results. Now it's the fun time. How would you apply it? Find the core skills in your area of expertise that drives the biggest results. For instance, if you're learning photography, you might want to focus on lighting and composition before investing heavily on expensive gears. And the same is the case for content creation as well. And that's for me. Right now, I'm learning how to do content creation. I'm just creating content using my 12 Pro Max. And this is the mic which I bought off of Amazon, maybe $25 or $30. So the point is, you don't need to get stuck in the cycle of, okay, I need to have everything figured out before I start learning. That's not the wrong way, I would say, but it's essentially longer way for you. It would definitely take longer for you to have everything figured out. And by the time you start posting, use the Pareto sweep, regularly analyze what's giving you the most progress and double down on it. The last, eliminate unnecessary learning. Don't get lost in the details that won't contribute to your end goal. To sum it up, the way you would apply the 80-20 rule in your learning is to find your core skill which would deliver the most. Use the Pareto sweep to analyze in which area you're making the more progress and double down on that key area. The third technique is active learning strategy, which in plain English, like for people like me, it means learn by doing. There's a huge difference between passive learning and active learning. Passive learning is you're reading books, watching videos, you're preparing your mind that you would learn it or you would do it. You're just planning for it. And Whereas active learning, it's immediately applying what you just learned. There are so many studies out there. We as human beings remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, and 90% of what we teach or apply. There's a really famous quote by Yogi Bhajan: if you want to learn something, read about it. If you want to understand something, write about it. If you want to master something, teach it. So, in our case, for active learning, how would you apply it? Instead of watching tutorials all day, create something meaningful with the skill you are learning. You want to try out public speaking? Start recording yourself every single day. You want to learn chess? Play real matches instead of just studying the strategies. Teach what you learn. I clearly remember when I was in India doing my diploma, whenever there was any semester exam, my friends, we would just gather and repeat everything, whatever we have learned, just to grasp the summary of what the topic is all about. And then that really helped me to understand deeply about those topics. Studies have also shown that explaining concepts to someone else, it forces you to understand the concepts deeply. And last but not the least, engage multiple senses. Write notes by hand. There is science associated when our teachers or moms used to say, read out loud when we were in elementary or high schools. If you're studying, write notes by your hand, speak the concepts aloud, or you can use a whiteboard as well and do the revision afterwards. So you're using your eyes, ears, and hand at the same time to learn that concept. Number 4, and the game changer, the deliberate practice formula. This is what separates amateurs from experts. Deliberate practice means focusing on specific weaknesses, getting feedback, and constantly improving. Take Virat Kohli. He didn't become a cricket legend by casually playing matches. He spent hours refining specific shots, adjusting techniques, and analyzing mistakes. And how would you apply it? Identify your weak spots and practice them intentionally. Break skills into micro skills. So instead of learning to write scripts, in my case, practice storytelling by sharing personal examples. Get feedback fast. Use mentors, coaches, AI tools to analyze your performance and get your feedback so you can improve. Number 4, use stretch goals. Challenge yourself slightly beyond your current level to accelerate your improvement. Most importantly, track progress and have fun. Keep a journal of what you're improving on a daily basis. Technique 5 is essentially the real world truth. So let me ask you one thing. How do you learn swimming? Do you learn swimming by reading about swimming? You probably have the idea where this technique is going. You learn swimming by getting in the water and practicing. Do you want to excel in job interviews? Do mock interviews. Who's stopping you to apply for those interviews? And even if you don't crack them or get a job, you're improving your own ability. You're improving your own skill set. Want to learn sales? Start selling something immediately. Want to learn about content creation? Start posting your video from today. Now, how would you apply this real world application rule? So there are multiple ways. Build it or publish it instead of watching it or just taking the notes. Building in public, like me. So for instance, I want to excel in content creation, especially on social media platforms like YouTube. What am I doing? I might have excelled in other areas of my life. In this specific field, I'm still a newbie. So what am I doing? I'm building in public, and that's the beauty. Simulate real conditions. If you're preparing for a public speech, practice in front of an audience, not just a mirror. Get real feedback. Test your skills in real world settings and improve on your feedback. And learn from your mistakes. Technique 6 is the speed learning hack. The fastest way to learn from someone who has already done it. A great mentor helps you avoid mistakes and shortens your learning curve. Think about it. Why take 5 years to learn something when a mentor can teach you the same thing in 6 months? I probably don't have to explain myself, but you already know on how to find a mentor. Follow experts online, take courses from industry leaders, ask for feedback from someone better than you. Join a community of learners. Being surrounded by people with similar goals definitely speeds up the progress. And also offer value. Instead of just asking for help, bring something useful to the table. Since you've come this far, here's your bonus lesson. The immersion principle. Surround yourself with the skill. One of the best ways to accelerate your learning is by immersion. What I mean by that? Constantly exposing yourself to the skill in different ways. For instance, if you're learning business, surround yourself with entrepreneurs and listen to business broadcasts on a daily basis. Now, how would you apply the immersion principle in your life? Create an immersive environment. Make your learning unavoidable. Use every free moment. Listen to audiobooks, practice mentally, or brainstorm ideas on the go. Last but the most important, live and breathe the skill. What I mean by that, the more you engage with it, the faster it becomes a second nature. For instance, for me, I'm recording this video after 2 weeks and I have stumbled upon, my editor knows that how many times I've stumbled in this video. But shout out to him for editing
everything and making this presentable to you guys. So here's the sum up. Becoming an expert isn't about raw talent. It's about using the right technique. If you focus deeply, learn the 20% that matters, apply the knowledge immediately, train deliberately, get real world experience, learn from a mentor, immerse yourself in the skill. I can guarantee you'll be 10x ahead of most people. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one skill that you're trying to master right now? Drop it in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.